So, warm welcome to everyone for today's session, which is about protecting or creating and protecting your purpose-driven brand. It's a great pleasure to introduce a colleague and friend, Ching, who runs the We Disrupt agency. We're going to present today in two sections, one about creating your purpose brand, and the second part about protecting your brand. So lots of contribution and sharing along the way, because at the end of the day, today is all about sharing ideas. So over to you for the first part of the presentation, Ching.
Thank you, Gareth. So I'll be talking about how to build a brand and the structure that I use to do so. Let me just try to share that with you. Here's my presentation here. Can you all see it?
Yes, alive and well. This is looking great.
Perfect. So I'll just talk about how to build a brand for about 10 to 15 minutes, very sort of high level, just cover the basics of this framework. And then you can ask questions later on as well if you need to ask further questions. And we'll, of course, talk more about purpose and how to protect it after with Gareth. So building a purpose-driven brand, this is me, We Disrupt Agency, and let's move. So first of all, what I would like to speak about, of course, is purpose. We're all here because we're discussing purpose-driven brands. So what is purpose and why is it important? For me, purpose is super important because that is what leads everything that I do, and I hope that that applies to you guys as well. So purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. We know that. And then a person's sense of resolve or determination or one's intention or objective. That's what they say purpose is, and I believe this is true, and this is why I believe it's really important as a business that we have this, we are led by this, because it is actually the reason why it's existing. Without that purpose, in my mind, why are we even existing? Or why is a business even existing if it doesn't have an objective, if it doesn't have a reason for existing? Do we then actually still need that business to exist? So that is a question we can speak about later. Purpose is what drives the vision. Vision is what drives the mission. So it's very much why you're doing what you're doing and how are you going to do it. So it's all led by that sense of purpose for the vision that we want to create, the difference that we want to create in this world. Next, I want to, let me just close this down actually so that you can see this. If I move you guys here. So here's a framework I want to share with you that I use in my business to help purpose-driven brands grow. Is the 5C framework for building a purpose-driven brand, which consists of 5 parts, which is the core purpose, which is what is leading everything. And then you've got the clarity, connection, commercialization, and consistency. A purpose-driven brand now grows 3 times faster than more conventional brands. So we're not talking about this it's a bit kind of an idea that we have to lead a business, but actually it is commercially also a very important part of how we drive a business, how we grow or build a business. So we lead with the purpose, and I'll go through each one of these parts separately with you. We start with core purpose. Purpose-driven brands go beyond selling products and services and are determined to bring positive social and environmental impact. So it is not just about driving profit, it's about going beyond that. So I've got 3 examples for you here. I've got Tom's, Patagonia and Lush. I think that you're probably all very familiar with these brands already. Tom's shoes, they are here to, they're in business to improve lives. And basically what they do is for every pair of shoes that they sell, they give 1 pair of shoes to someone who needs them. And actually Blake Makowski, who is the founder of the business, he was traveling in Argentina back in early 2000s, and he noticed these shoes, these canvas Esparillo type shoes. And he fell in love with them. And at the same time, whilst he was traveling, he also noticed a lot of kids running around with no shoes. They simply could not afford shoes. And this is why he built this business. That was his purpose, was to help these young people survive, or to get shoes initially. That's because the shoes, the lack of shoes caused a lot of health issues, blisters, and all sorts for these young people. So his basic idea was to give them more shoes. And of course, now he's given away millions pairs of shoes. And also, he not only give away shoes now, he also fund a lot of grassroots projects and helping over 105 million people and more, actually. So a small idea can grow into something very impactful if we follow that sense of purpose that we have. Patagonia is another company that we all are very familiar with, I think. So their vision is to build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire, implement solutions to the environmental crisis. And Yvon Chenard, he started this company back in the 1970s by just creating climbing gear, because that was his thing. He wanted to create climbing gear to help himself initially, and he was selling it on the back of his van to fund his climbing trips. So that's where he started, and then eventually he became the biggest supplier of climbing gear, and then he introduced new products as well, like rope and clothing, and now we all know him for his outdoor clothing. So he's gone a long way from his initial idea of just creating some climbing gear to support himself. But the bigger vision has always been to encourage more people to go out there and enjoy the outdoors and provide them with the right clothing to do so without making any negative impact or unnecessary harm to the planet. And the next example I have is Lush. Lush is a British company that provides naked beauty products, as in is unwrapped. Their main goal was to create products using vegetarian and vegan ingredients, and to take a strong stand against animal testing and to fight over packaging. And that has been the same. It has been the same since sort of in the 1980s, when Mark Constantine was running a different business selling beauty products. But in 1995, he launched Lush together with his wife and 5 other people. And every single day they innovate new products in how to reduce the harm that beauty products can have on the environment. How do we reduce textile waste? How do we reduce plastic waste in our beauty products? So most of his products are made naked. So essentially it's like a soap bar or shampoo bar, or it's got no packaging around it. He has got some plastic bottles in store as well, but you can return them for store credits, or you can return them to get recycled. So that is built into the business. But this is all led through his vision or his purpose of improving the environmental impact of beauty products. So that is sort of like small ideas that's grown into huge, massive companies driven by the sense, the core purpose of wanting to make a difference. For Tom's is to make a social impact. For Patagonia is to make a product that did not harm the environment, encourage people to go out in the outdoors more, and Lush is to protect the planet from all the chemicals that we put into our beauty products. And next, in part of the framework is clarity. We need to be clear with our purpose, of course. We need to be clear with why, who, and what we are doing, why we are even existing, the company is existing. But I also want to bring that back to our own brand story as well. Like, we need to be clear with why we are doing this that we're doing, why we are launching this brand. Why does it even matter what we are doing? Who are we at the core of a business owner? So it's not just about who we are as a business, but who are we as a business owner, and what is it that we want to achieve through this business? And I believe that in our business, there is a perfect intersection between our brand story and our personal stories, that intersection in the middle that we need to look at, and that's where our business should exist. That is when the business is the most powerful, when we can have a perfect intersection of our own brand story and our personal story. So if we lead with that, we can create some really powerful businesses like the three examples that I just gave you. It is all driven by the personal story of each brand owner. Messaging needs to be clear, because if we are confused about the messaging, then our customers will also be confused by our messaging. Business strategy and goals, of course, we need to be clear on that. So clarity is not just about the branding, it's not just about what we're doing, but it's also about how we're going to run this business and what we are trying to communicate. Really important part of the framework. Then connection is the next part, is with ourselves, with others, with ourselves, and with our partners. It's not just about connecting with our customers through marketing, but we also have to connect with ourselves as a business owner, as a founder. What is it? It goes back to the purpose, right? What is it that we want to do? We need to have alignment in our business in order for us to really create a powerful business that can grow beyond just profit. So, for example, I launched a brand in 2007. It was a kids fashion brand, sustainable kids fashion brand, and I wanted to make a difference in the world through this brand. But a few years down the line, when I realized actually trying to make a positive impact became very difficult, because we as a fashion brand was creating so much waste, and waste was the area that was causing the most harm to the environment, the pollution and the waste. So then my business and my purpose got a little bit out of alignment in that point, and then I could not grow that business anymore because I resisted selling. I did not want to sell any more products, because I knew that the more I was selling, the more of a negative impact I was creating. So it kind of didn't work. So that went out of alignment, and then I stopped all production at that point, because I realized actually what I'm doing is not aligned with my vision for what I wanted to create anymore. And then next, I wanted to also mention the connection with partners. Collaboration, super important. As we all know, that's why we here, Gareth and I, decided to collaborate on this, because we understand the power of collaborations with our partners. So 3 parts that we need to connect with every single purpose-driven business is with others, with ourselves, and our partners. Next, commercialization. I'm going through this quite fast. It's a very simple framework, but you can all ask questions after as well. Commercialization, what I see a lot in purpose-driven businesses, especially in the SMEs, is that they forget the commercialization part, or they put that kind of, it's not the main priority, because they're much more focused on the business, on the purpose side, and then somehow they negate this sort of commercialization of the business, and then in that way we are not creating the desired impact that we want to create. So business model, what kind of business model are we looking at? Is it a normal limited company if we're in Europe, or is it it could be a social enterprise, could be a charity, like Tom's, for example, was a social enterprise. How are we commercializing this business? What kind of products and offers are we and services are we putting out there, and are they in line with our purpose? Because, for example, Tom is a really good example. He loved his shoes, and he saw that he could help people through these shoes. So actually his product made perfect sense with his purpose, because he wanted to help more people have affordable shoes, or he could give these shoes away to these young people that didn't have any shoes. So does your product and services, do they make sense to your purpose? Sales and funding channels. So how are you going to acquire finances? How are you going to, if it's a social enterprise, maybe you need funding, grants, and if it's a charity, it's through donations, or of course, if you're more conventional business, then how are you gonna sell your products? Market needs analysis, important part of this as well, and sometimes I see that a lot again in the purpose-driven business situation, that we may not do our due diligence in terms of analyzing what the market actually needs, and we come out there, we are excited about our purpose. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to go and change the world. and we forget to find out, actually, do people want this product? Do they need this product? Have we analyzed this properly? So, and next, collaboration and JVs. We mentioned that again. It's a really big, important, big part of how we drive business and revenue to our companies through collaborations and JVs. Very, very powerful in this purpose-driven space. Yes, this is the last one, so I'll take some questions if there are any hands up. Otherwise, I hope that I didn't run through this all too quickly.
Yeah. This is great. And so people maybe go to share their brands after this, but this is fantastic.
Yeah, and then we can see where you are maybe within this framework as well, which area that you think that maybe you need to be working on more. And the last part of this is consistency. Consistency in profit. A lot of brands, a lot of SMEs, a lot of the companies that I work with, they come to me because they need more consistency in their brands, but in terms of the profit. It goes up and down. We need processes in place so that we can have even profit, so that we can plan for more growth. And of course, consistency in marketing. The more consistent we are with our marketing output, the more trust we're going to create, and more traction we're going to create, and more what is it called? The more I can't remember the word. The more oomph we can create in our business. So consistency is really important. And then language messaging, of course, is very important. When we are not consistently communicating in a way, Carol, you can maybe talk more about this in terms of communications as well as a copywriter. We need to be very consistent in our language that we speak to our customers, our stakeholders as well, in order for them to really trust us. What is the message? We can't one day say that we support environmental or reducing plastic waste, and then next we launch something that is full of plastics. We need to be very consistent in our message, in the language, and also quality and customers as well, customer service, because if one day we have a product that is really good quality and they come back to buy something else and the quality has gone down, we've lost that customer. So we work really hard to get that customer to us, and because of our inconsistencies in our quality of the product or our service, they will leave. So it's kind of a little bit of waste of resources on our part. So consistency in operations, in marketing, in everything that we need to do, super, super important. And that is pretty much the 5 parts of our framework in a nutshell, in a 10-minute presentation for you. So I believe business is a powerful tool to help support us in the realization of our purpose. And this is why I love helping purpose-driven businesses grow, because the more we can get in touch with our own sense of purpose, to launch a business to support that, we can make real impact on that. And I also believe that in order to build a powerful purpose-driven brand, we need to, as a founder or business owner, lead with purpose, but with equal consideration for the other 4 key areas as well, which are clarity, connection, commercialization, and consistency. So that is my quick fire presentation about how to build a purpose-driven brand. And I've got a link here. So my name is Yeung. You can find me on LinkedIn, or email me if you need to find out more about the work that I do, or if you have any questions. And then I've created a quiz here on sustainablebrandsuccess.scoreapp.com, where you can answer some questions to figure out which area your company needs to focus on more based on these 5 frameworks. So maybe Gareth, you can put the link in the chat.
Yes, already done.
Just click on that. It's just a fun little quiz to figure out where you are and ask you some questions that maybe you haven't asked yourself yet. So it's actually a really good tool to I'm going to stop sharing here. A very simple tool to figure out where you are, where your business are, and then where you need to work more on.
We're now just going to shift gears to actually think about if and when, once you've actually developed your purpose-driven brand, what you can actually do to protect it. And The first thing that I'd like to say on this topic is that, well, purpose is important, particularly if you're in sustainable development, or if you are in any industry. Not for profit does not mean not to make a profit. And whether that you're crowdsourcing your ideas with Start Some Good with your IP, start Some Good. Colin, you actually met the founder of Start Some Good actually earlier in the year, you might recall. Or if you are, creating a brand from scratch, or like Carol, you've been out in business, for many years, and basically are establishing that brand presence. And at the end of the day, your purpose is your gold. And when we start with our gold, we can really create something of valuable to others. And what I've found as a commercial lawyer of 20 years is that actually, brands on purpose can grow incredible value, and you can start some good with your intellectual property, with your purpose. And it's a subject that I've become increasingly interested in the last few years. Essentially, it comes from a proposition that you are the captain of your own ideas that you bring to market, and your brand is your most visible presence that you bring to the world. And so, therefore, it makes sense to protect your brand. Essentially, your brand is that otherwise can be protected as a trademark. It's the flag on top of your ship. And as the captain of your business, then it's important to protect your most visible asset, which is your brand. There's a range of other intellectual property protections available, but I won't dwell too much on them today, because today we're actually talking about protecting your brand, protecting your most visible asset. Underneath your ship, the hull of your ship, your business, in other words, is where there's a range of other ideas that can be protected through copyright, patents, and designs. But at the end of the day, in the beginning of it, having a strong purpose brand means protecting it so that you can distinguish yourself from all others in the marketplace. And essentially, that is your flag. That is your trademark. So when you sail into new waters, when you are doing business internationally, which is increasingly the case, then it's really important to protect that asset as a trademark. Who gives a crap about this? Well, just let's ask about some purpose-driven brands. This is an Australian company that exports all over the world. See, Ching was familiar with it, and a customer in recent times. She was there at Ching recently. And the fact is that while this is a plithy brand that actually makes us disrupts ourselves and makes us take notice, it follows proper business processes. They are registered in several countries around the world, and they distribute all around the world. And I have found that whether you're in commercial business or purpose business, and they are becoming more and more important to bring into the world, the brand needs to be protected. It protects everything that you are selling. And if you are selling, whether it be in this area of, sustainable fashion or sustainable tech, these same principles apply. The World Intellectual Property Organization defines this area of law as basically giving people the legal right to the financial benefit from what they create. And essentially, a trademark protects your brand and all your valuable assets, of all your valuable efforts, of all your marketing efforts that you've invested, and that protects it for 10 years. And so whether you're building a sustainable business from the kitchen table, or bringing it to the rest of the world like Patagonia has done, then basically it's important, to protect that as a trademark. Now, here's another entrepreneur that I don't need to introduce, but the power of trademarks can be seen over decades, by Sir Richard Branson. He founded a business on a houseboat, but basically built it into a household name, and was able to leverage his brand into several other industries due to the power of that trademark. In Australia alone, he owns 234 trademarks, and it's quite a similar story in every other, in many countries in the world. In fact, the purpose of Branson's brand is, to make business fun. And that's how he markets the brand and how he has entered new industries as well. It's part of his brand identity. It holds a significant amount of value worldwide. I don't think that's disputed. And he's no different to any other purpose-driven business owner. He recognizes the power of his brand and he uses it to leverage into new industries. And that is the power of trademarks. But that's can also be related to many other brands here that are all registered trademarks. In fact, one of my favorites is this B Corporation, which is actually a brand licensing system. In order to become a B Corp, one needs to invest in order to and fulfill a certain number of criteria in order to even be recognized under the certified B Corporation brand. This is also demonstrates also the power of trademarks and being able to leverage them because at the end of the day, to become a B Corp, you need to buy into that brand. And so I think it's a really powerful demonstration in how purpose and intellectual property do work together. And indeed, where business owners have leveraged, purpose business owners have leveraged their brands worldwide. Intrepid Travel, again, another great purpose brand story, which stands for, sustainable travel. But again, it is they sell tours all around the world, and their brand is protected. So, in short, a trademark is a sign used in business to indicate that goods or services come from a particular trader or service provider. It's the flag on your ship, as I've mentioned before. It can also be a phrase, a word, letter, name, signature, or any one of those things. So Colin's new trademark or proposed new trademark, Australian Property Development Fund, would protect, not only the name but also the emblem that he has. I've seen the flower emblem. It's not up on the screen at the moment, but basically those combination of elements are capable of being protected as a trademark, as is Carol's Words to Win, the distinctive purple lettering. Even the book that she has published can be protected under the trademark of those particular names. Colours can be protected as well. In fact, when you lodge a trademark, you protect the combination of elements that make it a distinct brand. And so it serves you not only to protect, the valuable purpose behind it, but also the marketing, the domains that you are actually operating under, and other products that you may develop under that brand. For example, Carol's book. So much like most countries in the world, by the way, have a trademark registration system. Because we've got a bit of a European focus today, we share in Australia the same trademark registration system as Europe. In fact, that is registered under an international treaty established by the World Intellectual Property Organization, which if you are registered in Europe, the UK, Australia, or one of other 115 countries, they will provide reciprocal protection of your trademark. It often begins by protecting it in your own country first, and then you can extend through the World Intellectual Property Organization to register in up to 118 countries now it is across the world. And that's the power of trademarks. That's how many purpose brands, whether it's Branson or through to Intrepid Travel, have registered their global efforts, and that begins with their most visible asset, their brands. So look, just as a bit of a giveaway today, I want to show you a tool that I often use to do those searches, to actually find out, whether your brand is protected or capable of being protection. And just before we dive in here, there's a couple of there are a few rules about what can and cannot be protected as a trademark. First of all, names that are in the common vernacular that are used in everyday practice. For example, Googling, or for example, corner store can't be protected as a trademark because everyone in the industry should be capable of using those names. So industry terms are off the table. Say Ching, a few years ago, I had a client that wished to register Circular Marketing Australia, but the trademark office knocked that back because everyone should have the ability to use the term circular marketing. And in a similar way, Colin, if you don't mind me sharing on the call, Australian Property Development Fund may be considered too generic. So my advice would be to maybe think of creating something that is more distinctive, perhaps consulting with, say, Ching or others that could provide you with that distinctive badge of origin that is capable of protecting it as a trademark. That therefore will give you something that is much stronger. And my concern for you is that if we go ahead with registering Australian Property Development Fund, the Trademark Office may see it as being not distinctive enough, because those terms should be capable for all traders to use. So anyway, a little bit of pop advice there, but one way you can actually begin this journey is actually by, I'm going to be coming out of this, I'm about to leave, but that's okay because I'm going to show you how you can actually do some of these searches yourself. It always does pay to get qualified advice, but you can do some searches on a global brand database. This is a very powerful tool. It's offered by the World Intellectual Property Organization. It's a global brand database, and basically you can do a worldwide search on your brand to see where it sits, whether there is any registrations worldwide, and you can hone this down to your own country. So, for example, just because we had I had one prepared here. Oh, let's just do Intrepid. So we're doing a quick one on Intrepid here, and as you can see, Intrepid is registered in many countries in and around the world. There's various registrations here: Spain, EU, China, even the USA. It's a very well protected brand. And so this is a tool that you can easily jump in and actually identify, first of all, the country you're looking at, and you can even edit the search term. You can even look under owners' names if you're, or designation country. So just in Australia alone, we can look at how many is registered here. And as you can see, there's, well, Australian didn't seem to come up there. But there's actually 846 searches in the entire world. So as you can see, it can be a very useful tool to hone in and actually use that to search for your brand. So look, in short, because we're shortly going to be out of time, I'm very passionate about this area, and increasingly in this area of sustainable business, because what I've recognized is that many purpose-driven people do not go to the length and extent that they should to protect the most valuable the asset that they have, which are their ideas. And so just as an offer, I'm really happy to give away a complimentary copy of my new book, which is actually in second edition. It's called Ideology. It's about how to protect your ideas, and most importantly, how you bring your purpose into the world and protect it as valuable intellectual property, otherwise known as ideology. What is your purpose? What is your big idea that you wish to bring into the world? And most importantly, how do you plan to succeed in business with it with respect to protecting your intellectual property as you go? So if you sign up ipassist.com.au and request that book. It's actually in the pop-up screen, and I also offer complimentary brand consultations as well to get to the bottom of whether it's possible to protect your ideas. So in short, in protecting your ideas globally, here's just some resources for you here. World Intellectual Property Organization, I just mentioned them before, has some really great information about IP protection and, importantly, that Brown database that I just mentioned. And the European Union Intellectual Property Office also is very proactive in giving information, and also you can do localized searches in Europe, for example. And so euipo.europa.eu is that there. At the end of the day and the beginning of it, this is about finding your treasure. Your ideas are worth gold, and they are worthy of your protection. And so on that optimistic note, I would like to throw up to any questions, and thank you for your time today.